Sir, I rise in support of this bill. This bill discusses the future of India's most prestigious science and technology institution. And I'm sure that after the smooth passage of the bill in both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, the families and students of Tirupati, Palakkad, Goa, Dharwar, Bhilai and Jammu will see a long pending dream of theirs come true. And I wish everyone the best. So when we talk about the institutions of national importance, one of the implications is that they are able to confer, they are able to award their own degrees. This act is an act of parliament and was set up in 1961. I agree with the Honourable Minister that often in our approach towards education in the past, we have focused on quantity and numbers, whether that it is number of schools, number of colleges, number of students, number of teachers, and we have achieved a fair deal in that. Our literacy rate at the time of independence was close to 50%. It is now close to 75 to 76%. But now, as the Minister pointed out, and this has been part of the educational debate over the last 6 to 7 years, that the focus must be on quality. What do we mean by when we say quality? That whatever the students are listening in their classrooms, they're able to understand, not just repeat it at the time of examination. When we talk about quality, we mean the quality of research. A school or college or university is not a place where only degrees are awarded to students, but also knowledge is created. So knowledge being created through research. The diversity of students, that students from across India, across the SAARC nations, and from across the world should be studying at this so that the students can learn from each other, they can be peer-to-peer learning. So there was a time when in our Indian history, the universities of Nalanda and Takshila were world centers of academic excellence. And people from across the world would really strive hard to study at these institutions. And that is what we're talking about, quality. And that should be our aim. Sir, I remember at this time, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, in his 1956 address at IIT Kharagpur, he looked with pride towards where this IIT was standing. And he said that this is a monument to India's future. This institute represents India's urges, and this institute in the future will define India's leadership. So therefore, when we're talking about IITs, it is not just simply about having institutes in different parts of the country. We are in fact talking about India. And sir, in today's world, if there is one country and one society which puts the ultimate priority and emphasis on education, it is that of our country, India. Where else in the world will you find a goddess of knowledge as in Ma Saraswati? Where else in the world will you find a god of engineering and architect as in Lord Vishwakarma? Our nation has given Aryabhatta, who gave the world the power of thinking about the zero. Our nation gave the world of Ramanujan, who inspired the world of mathematics. Our nation gave the world C.V. Raman, who inspired the world with physics. Our nation gave the world of late APJ Kalam, who talked about nuclear as a peaceful method of development. So today, when we talk about the parliament as a temple of democracy, then surely our IITs are the temples of science and technology. And therefore, sir, I am proud of the service that our IITs have done over the last couple of decades. It was not easy to begin with. The IITs in the beginning were set up through foreign collaboration and international aid. IIT Kharagpur was set up with support from UNESCO. Various IITs were set up with support from Germany, the former Soviet Union, the United States, United Kingdom, and we are thankful of the aid of those countries at that point of time. But the first IIT, which was indigenously developed by Indian academicians without any foreign collaboration, I am very proud to say, is IIT Guwahati in the state of Assam. Sir, and over the last couple of years, in a very short span, the IIT Guwahati is ranked in one of the top 100 universities in the world, which are of less than 50 years in age. And I'm very proud to say that fact. And when I'm talking about IIT Guwahati, then I cannot forget the contribution of late Rajiv Gandhi, who gave birth to IIT Guwahati through the Assam Accord of 1985. Sir, we're talking about science and technology. And if there is one primary factor behind a globalized world, behind a rapidly changing world, is that of technology. Technology has able to flatten the world in unimaginable ways. When I was a young student in school, the computers were so big. There was a separate monitor, a separate keyboard, a separate central processing unit, a separate dot matrix printer, a separate scanner. Couple of years evolved, and then you find that the computers became smaller. They were laptops. Couple of years involved, and now your entire computer, sir, is in your palm. One phone acts as a printer, the same phone acts as a camera, the same phone acts as a scanner, the same phone acts as a modem, and you can send email. This is how fast the world has evolved and how technology has evolved. And today, we have to understand that Pandit Nehru said that IIT should be at the forefront of technology. And that is my dream as a young Indian, that our IITs are not just a member of the technology change that is taking place, but is at the forefront. Then we really have to see that what is happening in technology, what are the latest inventions. Today, cars don't need a driver. They're driving on their own. Cars are running on batteries. Today, we can speak to our mobile phones. We can give voice commands to the fridge. We can tell the TV which give voice instructions. Today, there's a day of artificial intelligence. We are giving data from our mobiles as to where our location is. The latest mobile game is Pokemon Go, which focuses on location-based data. Today, there's a day of cloud computing. Gone are the days when one computer used to occupy an entire office. Today is a whole new world with latest inventions coming up. So therefore, if we really must ensure that India is not behind the world in terms of technology, but is leading the world in terms of technology, then we must focus on our IITs and try to see how we can support them. And in this case, sir, in 2010, the Anil Katkotkar committee was set up. It outlined a path of how to make our IITs even more greater, how to make our IITs not just places where students come and get degree, but how to make our IITs a source of wealth in terms of knowledge. And it outlined that if you really want to create knowledge in IITs or any higher educational institutions, you must focus on your PhD students, sir. It is the PhD students who, through their 3 years, 4 years of research, really go into the depth of the subject and are able to create something new. And in this case, sir, we have much to achieve. In the field of engineering and technology, every year, if you see how many PhD graduates come out of US or come out of China, the numbers are close to 8,000. But if you see the same field, how many PhDs every year do we create in the field of engineering and technology in India? 1,000. So therefore, the Anil Katkotkar committee outlined a target, a very ambitious target, I must say, that every IIT institute should have a faculty of 1,200 professors and should have close to 12,000 students. 1,200 faculty members, 12,000 students. Where do we stand now? On an average, each IIT has close to 400 to 500 professors, far from 1,200. Every IIT has around 5,000 to 6,000 students on an average, far from 12,000. So if we really must achieve a target where there are 40,000 PhD students studying in one IIT, where there are 40,000 master's students studying in one IIT, where there are 80,000 undergraduate students studying in one IIT, then we have a lot to do. And how do we support this? We have to focus on research infrastructure. Sir, I hope that when we're talking about this bill, we're not only talking about setting up, converting existing institutions into IIT, but really coming up with a long-term plan as to how to expand the research infrastructure so that our own PhD students don't need to go to an American or a Canadian university to have access to their technology and their lab. The very same lab, the very same instruments, the very high quality faculty support can be found in our domestic IITs. That should be the aim. And therefore, the committee itself is 278 pages, sir. It's a very extensive work. I managed to read the executive summary, so I'm sharing from there. It said that you must focus on research infrastructure. How? It talked about special laboratories, sir. So just imagine that IITs have a special laboratories which collaborate with government or state governments or district governments on projects which are relevant to that state. If there's IIT Guwahati, it collaborates with the state government of Assam on flood management. If there's an IIT in Delhi, it collaborates with Delhi on urban planning. If there's an IIT in another state, it collaborates with the state government on climate change and agriculture, new technology, technology which is affordable, technology which is contextual, technology which is accessible. And then after special laboratories, the Commission talked about research parks. So we must have greater collaboration between the industry and the academia. Our industry also, if we want our domestic industry to come up with new technology, if we actually want Startup India, if we want our Indian industries to innovate, invent, then they must collaborate and must have the academic support. So therefore, these youth universities must have research parks where industries sponsor and fund research projects. So I am a great believer of private philanthropy. But while I appreciate the sentiment and I acknowledge that every time a business family or a corporate, in order to contribute to education, sets up a different private engineering college, sets up a different school, sets up a different college, so instead of private corporate philanthropists setting up different schools, different colleges, why can't we create a mechanism by which they contribute to our IITs, through our IIMs? Why does the top Indian industrialists need to donate to American universities and set up a $10 million chair? Why can't they give the same money to our IITs? Why can't we create the same mechanism if it does not exist? Our universities should allow private philanthropists to donate to set up labs, to donate to set up hostels, donate to set up canteens. I'm a big believer of that, sir. दान हमारे सभ्यता में है, लेकिन दान का हमें उस रास्ता भी देना चाहिए कि हमारे लोग में जो धनी लोग हैं वो अपने यूनिवर्सिटी खड़ा करने के बजाय किसी एग्जिस्टिंग जो अच्छा यूनिवर्सिटी है उसको सपोर्ट करें. सर, लास्टली, अगर ये सब करना हो तो सरकार और आईआईटी के बीच में जो एक रिश्ता है वो इस रिश्ते को सुधारना पड़ेगा. सर, कभी कभी ना अनजाने में रिश्ता खराब हो जाता है. द रिलेशनशिप टर्न्स सावर and then we get into a relationship of conflict between an IIT director and somebody and the ministry, or between the IIT Council and the UGC. Sir, the IIT was set up as an act of parliament. Let us give it the respect that it deserves. And we talk about respect. What is the first thing that we should give? Is we should give autonomy. We have set up a commission. It's very well, I understand that a commission has been set up, but what is the government's view on that? What are the steps that they're going to implement? Why is it not clear? Why is it not transparent? How are they outlining? Yet we hear astonishing news that instead of thinking about what is the future of IIT, what new laboratories will be set up, we hear what food will be served in the canteen. Sir, how is that a reform-based approach towards IIT, sir? So we need our IITs to be given the maximum support. Maximum support. And for that, sir, I appreciate that if in our times, in the UPA government, when we really wanted to initiate a bold technology project, such as the UID project, such as the Aadhaar project, we created a separate department of UID and got someone who is well experienced, got someone from industry background to set up. And you saw that within a short span, the Aadhaar was enrolled And this government, the current government also wants to now use that benefit of the technology platform. Only now. But why can't we do something similar? Why not we have a council headed by someone, a specialist from the world of academia, who can act as a bridge between the government and the IITs and really formulate a plan with annual milestones and achieve it. Sir, I am only saying this because I feel that our students are not getting the support that they need. When I travel to foreign universities or meet professors from the best universities, they say, PhD student in IIT, very smart, very brilliant, very good, very hard-working. But then what are we doing with our students? We're increasing their fees. Their fees was initially 2 lakhs, 2.5 lakhs. This government wants to now increase the fees to 4 lakhs. How is that possible, sir? If you really want to expand the infrastructure of IIT, please give the money yourself. Don't raise the money from students, sir. Yeah. These students come from very hard-working families. Their families and their parents work really hard. Yeah. As it is, they spend so much in the years preceding the IIT entrance exam because they have sent their students to coaching institutes. Yeah. Earlier coaching students used to prepare for IIT from class 10, class 11. These days they start preparing from class 8. So from class 8 to class 12 they are spending close to 1 lakh on cracking one examination. So already before they have paid your IIT's tuition fees, they spend close to 7 to 8 lakhs just preparing for the exam. And then after getting into IIT, you want to increase the burden and increase their fees? That's not fair, sir. That's absolutely not fair. We demand that the fees should not be increased. Yeah. Rather, the government should give more scholarships. Rather, the government should give more hostels. Rather, the government should ensure that students from all backgrounds, especially those who come from a poor background, irrespective of their caste or community, get the utmost attention and respect. Sir, these students are under tremendous pressure. To crack the IIT exam, sir, there are not enough IITs. So there are so many applicants, and finally when they enter, they are already suffering under tremendous pressure. And therefore they need counselling. Counselling should be a very important part of our IIT educational system, sir. It's very sad when a bright young life is lost because somebody committed suicide. It is very sad that when a bright young life is lost because of the academic pressure and the depression that comes after studying in IIT. We must offer more counselling support and student support. Sir, in IIT Guwahati, there was a case in 2014 of a young boy, Tushar Yadav. That boy died under very mysterious circumstances. Yet the parents of that boy are still running from one door to another, asking for clarity. What happened? They thought that their future was secure after Tushar got entrance into IIT, but no, their future was dashed. What is the truth? I hope that this debate will talk about the pressure on children and academic-related stress as well. Sir, lastly, I agree that this bill is good, but yet we need a greater public debate on our temples of science and education. We want these temples to be producing scientists who are leading the world, producing scientists, thinkers who change the world. And therefore the focus must be on creating research projects, must be focused on research parks. There is one research park in IIT Madras. I expect and I hope that this debate will lead to another research park. Maybe, I hope, in the first indigenously developed IIT, which is IIT Guwahati. My request to the Honorable Minister to create a research park, give it a startup capital of 50 crores, let it contribute and work with the state governments of the entire Northeast region. And today, when we talk about IITs, let us talk about with a perspective of future. Let us remember that the Pandit Nehru said that IITs must be at the forefront, and India must relive its traditional role of being a source of wealth and knowledge for the entire world. Let us reclaim that position. That is our cultural history. That should be a foreign policy priority. That should be our education, our approach. And I hope that this debate will talk about our future roadmap for our temples of science and education. Thank you very much.
जो बीजेपी गलत कर रही है, ये जो पिछड़ों के ढोंग कर रही है, ये जो पिछड़ों का ढोंग कर रही है, अध्यक्ष जी इसको समाजवादी लोग, अध्यक्ष जी, अनिल नेताजी बोलेंगे, मैं बैठा हूँ, अध्यक्ष नेताजी